Yellowstone Supervolcano latest caldera chronicles. New geochemical tool reveals the origin of the volcano's deep nitrogen. Weekly column written by scientists and collaborators of Yellowstone Volcano Observatory. This week is from Pete Barry, geochemist in the Department of Marine Chemistry and Geochemistry at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute. And here we are at Yellowstone Volcano Observatory Caldera Chronicles, and I'll leave a link below for you for this. This is an aerial view above the Norris Geyser Basin. Photos gain insight into the distribution of the cracks and fractures that feed the hot springs at Norris Geyser Basin right here. In the air we breathe, oxygen plays an obvious important role, but it's not the most abundant gas in the atmosphere. That honor belongs to nitrogen. But where did this nitrogen come from? And how much nitrogen is there deep within the earth? It turns out that measurements at Yellowstone are helping to address these questions and others. Now we know that Yellowstone daily releases 40,000 tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, just from Yellowstone Supervolcano area alone. 40,000 tons of carbon dioxide every day. But this has to do with the nitrogen. Researchers at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, and collaborators at Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute and several other universities around the globe developed a new geochemical tool to gain insight into the origin of the nitrogen, symbol N, and other gaseous elements in the Yellowstone Volcano province. And they said that we discovered that a lot of nitrogen molecules coming out of volcanoes at Yellowstone are actually composed of nitrogen molecules from the air. This is what Jabrain Labidi, lead author of the paper, said, saying basically air is contaminating the volcanic gases. To reach the conclusion, researchers sampled gases from inside the Yellowstone caldera and along its margins, and they analyzed them for gas compositions, namely nitrogen isotopes. Isotopes are two or more forms of the same element that contain equal numbers of protons but different numbers of neutrons, and hence differ in atomic mass but not in chemical properties. With the two stable isotopes N14 and N15, the molecule N2 can occur as N14, 14N, 14, and N15N, and 15N, 15N, because the vast majority of 99% of nitrogen is 14N. The most common combination of so-called the isotopolog is 14N, 14N. Substitution of a single 15N for 14N is rare. A doubly substituted isotopolog, 15N, 15N, is even less common. An earlier study from UCLA showed that atmospheric nitrogen 2 plays a unique proportion of 15N, 15N, considerably different from composition of N2 that is found in Earth's mantle, the mantle being the part of the Earth's interior between the metallic outer core below the mantle and the crust above the mantle. The layer located between the crust and that makes up the bulk silicate portion of Earth. Labidi and co-authors simply use this anomaly to track any atmospheric N2 and hydrothermal fluids from Yellowstone, and their findings were published April 16, 2020 in the journal Nature magazine. Nitrogen isotopolog measurements were made by using a custom-built instrument at UCLA to determine the amount of air versus mantle-derived N2 in the Yellowstone hydrothermal system. In the Yellowstone hydrothermal system, the team coupled these new generation nitrogen data with state-of-art noble gas isotope measurements. Noble gases are chemically inert and are found in trace amounts in the Earth and can reveal important information about Earth evolution due to their unique chemical properties. The authors showed that this new coupled noble gas and clumped nitrogen approaches can help disentangle atmospheric gases from mantle gases. Here we have the relationship between delta 30 and 3 helium ratios in hydrothermal gases from Iceland and Yellowstone. Yellowstone in red, Iceland yellow. And the delta 30 and N2-3H helium ratios are shown for samples collected from gases in Iceland. The Yellowstone mantle end member is arguably indistinguishable in terms of N2-3He from the convecting upper mantle, the gray diamonds, right here. Now, the results revealed the presence of contaminating air in samples that were previously considered to be coming directly from magmatic sources. By accounting for the contaminating effect, the data revealed evidence that some mantle nitrogen, still contributing to present-day volcanism, could have been present in the deep earth since our planet initially formed. Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute scientist Pete Berry, a co-author on the paper, said, "Once air contamination is accounted for, we can gain new and viable insights into the origin of the nitrogen and the evolution of our planet." The research also compared the composition of gases from Yellowstone National Park with gas emissions from volcanoes in Iceland and around the globe. Nitrogen measurements in these volcanoes allowed Labidi and his co-authors to distinguish between nitrogen sources coming from air and those coming from inside the Earth's mantle. And these results ultimately helped these researchers understand how our planet and atmosphere have formed. Okay, this study was supported by the Deep Carbon Observatory and Sloan Foundation, and this is the latest on the Yellowstone caldera from Yellowstone Observatory. And I'll leave links below for you for this. They also have a new site coming up, us.gov/YVO, and it's great because it also has a new type of explanation having to do with the volcanic fields south of Yellowstone. As we know, Salt Lake City has 8 volcanoes. South of Salt Lake City, Idaho has 9, but they don't include Idaho here. They only have things that have to do, they even have the Valles caldera. Is that it? Yes, that's it. It's a supervolcano. Besides Yellowstone and Long Valley, we have the Valles caldera as well. And the Valles is moderate threat potential. High threat potential is Yellowstone, and the Long Valley caldera is very high threat potential. So this would be interesting to see. It's still a work in progress, but they will be coming up with this in a couple of weeks. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.